Come on in, honey. The lantern's lit, the veil's a little thin, and the wind's been dying to carry a few secrets your way. Welcome to Raven's Ramblings, where the shadows walk beside us and the past never stays buried, and a good spell can speak louder than a sermon. I'm Raven Nightingale, part healer, part hellraiser, keeper of the old ways and ghost stories alike. So pull up a chair and listen close. You never know what might be whispering in the dark. Welcome back, everyone, to Raven's Ramblings, where we talk about witchcraft, the real kind, the kind that does not always look pretty, but always means something. Hi, I'm Raven. How y'all doing? I'm your host. Today or tonight, it's 2 o'clock in the morning for me. We are going to step away from some of the more polished and aesthetic version of witchcraft. And we're going to step into something a little bit older. Yeah, a little quieter, a little more necessary. We're going to talk about the village witch. Yeah, like back hundreds of years, right? Because we've been around for a very, very long time. And there's always been someone like us, whether they were called witches, whether they were called folk healers, whatever. But and the village witch was not someone that people always liked, right? But they still came to this person, usually a female, when they needed something, when they needed help. And this is a version of witch that doesn't really get talked about enough because this is not the Instagram witch. This is not the perfectly curated altar witch. I'm talking about the ones who live just far enough away from the main village that people didn't really visit them unless they had a reason, right? This was the one who knew things, the one who didn't explain herself. Um, she probably made people feel a little bit uncomfortable, but this person, she also happened to be the first person that was thought of when a child had a fever or someone had a wound that wouldn't heal or something felt wrong in their home. I said she was not always liked, but she was needed. And at the time, that mattered more, right? And there's something almost transactional about that kind of relationship. People are not going to go to the village witch for small talk. They don't come to be entertained or to catch up on things. They come because something has gone wrong and they need the help. And when people only come to you in moments of need, you start to see them a little differently. So you're going to see things like what they hide, what they are afraid of, what they don't say out loud. And over time, that kind of relationship is going to cause or create a kind of distance between you or the village witch and the general populace. And it's not because you don't care, but it's because you understand a little too much. Yeah. So here is the truth people don't like to admit about village witches. The village witch was not soft. She was not always warm. She was not the sweet old grandmother baking cookies for all the village children. No, no, no. She did not exist to make people feel good. Does that make sense? Like she would heal them, but not add to their lifestyle, but that's not making any sense. She did not exist to make people feel good. That was not her purpose. She existed to fix things, to understand things, and to handle things. And that kind of power, it makes people nervous because when someone you're unsure of can kind of see through you and refuse to play along with population bullshit, and they're still the person you need when things go wrong, you don't know whether to respect them or fear them. And honestly, it's usually a little bit of both. And I think part of that fear comes from the fact that the village witch doesn't pretend. You know what I mean? Like we all put on that mask to bring comfort to others. She does not soften the truth to make it easier to hear. If something is wrong, she just says it. If something needs to change, she names it. And in a world, even today, where most people are used to avoidance and politeness and pretending everything's fine and hunky dory, that kind of honesty can feel very sharp and very brutal. But this is also the reason that people come back because when things are serious, you don't necessarily want comfort, you want truth. Yeah. And this is where we're going to kind of bring in this into something real because the village witch was not just mysterious. Okay. She was very practical. She had jars of dried herbs. She had oils that were steeping in a quiet, dark corner. She had salves for cuts and burns, and teas for sleep or nerves or grief or physical ailments like stomach aches and things like that. This was not Pinterest witchcraft. This was, you're hurt, come here, sit down, I'll fix it. This is the kind of witchcraft that lives in your hands, in your knowledge, in knowing what to reach for without overthinking it. The apothecary, the folk healer, the one who quietly knows what works. And there is also a rhythm to this kind of work. It is not rushed. It is not an aesthetic. It is a lot of patience. It is drying herbs slowly. It is learning what works through trial and error, through experience. It's paying attention to small changes. Yeah. This kind of witchcraft is not about performing magic. This is about becoming reliable because this was their way of living. This was their, what is the word I'm looking for? This was their job. Yeah. You are becoming someone who knows what to reach for, when to act, and when to wait. No, livelihood. That's the word I'm looking for. This was their livelihood. So where was I? Oh, no, no, I lost my place. You're becoming someone who knows what to reach for, when to act, and when to wait. That kind of knowledge, it does not come from reading. It truly doesn't. It comes from doing. Yeah. Now here is where it gets really real. People don't always like the village witch. Nope. Because she does not perform. She does not explain herself. She does not shrink to be easier to understand. And when you don't do those things, especially in modern society, people fill in those blanks. They're going to whisper, they're going to assume, they are going to project. And suddenly you're too much, or a little bit strange, or you're intimidating. That one's my favorite. You're intimidating. And I'm all like, I'm sorry that you were so easily intimidated, but that sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. But here's the part that really matters, they still come to you. hmm And at some point, you realize something very important. You are not being misunderstood because you've done something wrong. You're being misunderstood because people don't have a place to put you, right? You don't fit into what they expect or what they are comfortable with or what they can easily explain. Instead of trying to fix that, though, you just let it be because their clarity isn't your responsibility. Okay? It's not. That is a them problem, not a you problem. True. But on the other hand of that, there is a quieter side to this path that doesn't get talked about enough. It can be lonely, not like in a dramatic way, but in a subtle, steady way. Like because when you become the person that people rely on, they they come out of the woodworks when they need something. But you don't always have someone to rely on in the same way. You become the steady one, the grounded one, the one who holds all the things together. And while that is very powerful and amazing, it also means that you have to learn how to hold yourself together without that help. And that is really difficult sometimes. But on the brighter side of it, you do not have to live in the forest to be the village witch. You can be her in your home or in your friend group or at work or quietly without any announcement. You become her, strangely enough, when you don't even expect it because people start to trust you with real things. You stop performing your identity. Your knowledge becomes lived, not just learned. It's not about the aesthetic, it is about the presence. It's about being the person people think of when something actually matters. Yeah, but let's not romanticize it. Being the village witch comes with the cost. You will be misunderstood. You will be talked about. You will be kept at a distance until you're needed. Yeah. People may not celebrate you, but they will remember you. And when things fall apart, because inevitably they will find you. So maybe the goal isn't to be liked. Maybe it's not even to be understood. Maybe the goal is to become steady and capable and trusted, even if it's quiet, even if it's complicated, even if it makes people a little bit uncomfortable. Because the village witch, she was not the loudest voice in the room. She was the one people looked for when everything else stopped working. And maybe that's what this really comes down to. Yeah. The village witch wasn't trying to be seen. She wasn't trying to be admired. She wasn't trying to be understood. She was trying to be useful. And there's something really deeply powerful about that. Because when you stop chasing approval, you start building something real. Yeah. So, thank you for sitting with me through The Village Witch today. If this episode resonates with you, you may be closer to this path than you think. And if you are, just know you don't have to explain yourself to anyone. Nope, you don't. And if they are intimidated, that is a them problem, not a you problem. If you'd like to keep walking this path with me, you can find out more at ravensramblings.com and join the newsletter, the Ravens Letter, for extra ramblings and behind the scenes thoughts and things I don't necessarily share on here. Until next time, my dears, stay curious, stay wild, and stay a little witchy. Bye.